Hi, Steve Bishop here. I was intrigued by Christian Henson's challenge to convert the sounds from a rusty gate bolt, and also the sounds from New Street Station in Birmingham, into Kontakt instruments. So what follows is my account of how I converted the sounds. Right, after we've got a suitable bit of audio, the next step is to do an audio mix down to export it out into a WAV file by doing this. And we're going to export it out 48K WAV file, call it gate mod, differentiate it from the previous file so we don't get mixed up here. So just press this and it exports it. We've now got a file called gatemod.wav, which we're going to use for the next stage of the process. Okay, I now have the file exported out of Cubase into a WAV file. What I'm going to do now is to pull that same file back into Cubase into a Serum synthesizer instance. So I'll just fire one of those up. You can see it comes up in init mode. Basic everything is defaulted to these levels. There's a default waveform, default EMBO, LFO. The sub, noise, oscillator B and filter are off. The one we're interested in is here, the wave table, which we're going to pull in the WAV file to. I'll just pull that in. Note there's a number of settings here. I've tried a number of them. The best one appears to be FFT256. The others may work, I'm not sure, but this one works perfectly for what we want. So here we go. You can see the file that's come in has 256 different waveforms. The first 150 odd are empty, but there's some interesting ones starting at 150, so we can go through them and sort of preview them. I've done this at great length, and I ended up at the file waveform which was 224. Bring it up. That one. You can see the yellow outline of the waveform. So when we use the keyboard on the synthesizer, we're now going to hear that waveform, which I'll just demonstrate. Doesn't sound much, so what I'm going to do now is to export that out again. What I'll do now, I'm going to an instance of Serum which I already set up here, where I pulled it in. And you can see on this one, I've set up an envelope for the waveform, and we're not using the LFO. Filters off, oscillators off, so what we've got is just that waveform. If I just click on that one, again, if I preview it, you can hear it's exactly the same thing as before. But you can hear, because I've now added the envelope to it, we've got a bit of a sustain and an ADSR here. So what the next step is to now export that out again into another file, which we're going to use for the next step. I now have a copy of the file exported from Serum using the audio mixdown out of Cubase into a WAV file. I'm now going to pull that file into Kontakt 5. Now I'm using Kontakt 5 and to pull it in. Kontakt 6 has a wavetable facility, which is ideal for what I'm trying to do here, but you may not be using 5, so to make it compatible, you can use a built-in 5 on 6. I'm using 5, so there we go. That's a new instance of Kontakt. I've opened up the tools, then the mapping editor, and we have this field here where you can pull in your wave file. So I'll just pull that in there. At the moment, you can see it's sitting on one key. Move it along, it just moves one key along. To expand it across the whole of the keyboard, you just need to pull it along like this. Now that the instrument will function across all the keys, I'll just demonstrate that. Sounds an interesting sound. We'll have to process it a bit more, but that's the bones of it. Having pulled the waveform in and spread it across all the keys, you can use the wave editor here to see the waveform, and you can set the end point and the start point here if required. This is set at the beginning, and there's a bit of a tail on it to let it go away. I've also added some other bits to it using the script editor to give it these controls. We've got an attack, hold, decay, sustain, release, ADSR. There's a volume control and a cutoff control to actually sort of do a high cut progressively, so we can wind it from 19 kilohertz right down to 26 hertz, progressively sort of cutting off the top. And we'll leave it there to let the full spectrum through. There's a reverb set there, and this is all done in the scripting language down here. It's a bit complicated, and the manual from Native Instruments isn't that sort of clear how you actually implement it. You have to sort of dig around on the web to find examples of it, but there's plenty of them around. Basically what it's doing, the script here is just manipulating the controls of things like filters you've set up here. If I knock out you can see further down the cutoff up here. The cutoff here is adjusting the cutoff here and using this filter already set up. So the scripting language here is connecting that with that one. You can see as we change the cutoff frequency, you can see there's a small graph of the. Just to complete the exercise, I had a go at the station file, which you remember was just a sort of a high-pitched screech and then a lot of background noise. Just taking the waveform straight from that and doing similar things to it didn't really bring out much until I started following the same sort of process what I did with the Ferrogat, which is the gate one. What I did here, the same sort of process to get files there. Drop that one, open that one. You can see it's a similar thing. It sounds a little bit different. Just preview that one. And there you have it. 2 instruments made from sounds which Christian come across in Hebrides and Birmingham. Thanks very much.